Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I call this City Council meeting to order of January 28th, 2020. The first item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you can all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a comment before we continue, we do have our executive analyst here, Blanca Martinez Gavinia, who will be picking up cards for the open forum. If you would like to speak at the open forum, you could just wave your hand and she can get you a card or pick up your card. Thank you. The next item is the approval of the minutes of the City Council work session of January 8th, 2020, the special City Council work session of January 11th, 2020, the City Council work session of January 14th, 2020, the City Council meeting of January 14th, 2020, and the special City Council work session of January 16th, 2020. And before there's a motion, I just want to let the record show that there were some changes made on the representatives to serve on the 2020 council liaisons to various local, regional, and city boards and commissions. And those changes are noted on the January on the notes, on the agenda, on the meeting for January 14th, and they are reflected online. So it's
so moved with those changes.
Second.
Any council comments? Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The minutes have been approved. The next item is the approval of the agenda.
Madam Mayor, I would like to move approval with one change to delete item 5 since the person who was requesting the action has withdrawn the request.
Great, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The agenda has been approved. The following item is a consent calendar, and that will be with City Manager Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor. The consent calendar contains several separate items which are acted upon by the City Council in one motion. Once the consent calendar has been approved, the individual items and recommended actions have also been approved. No further council action on these items is necessary. Item A, consider the approval of a temporary on-sale intoxicating liquor license for the Church of St. Peter, located at 6730 Nicollet Avenue South, for their ham bingo event taking place on March 28th, 2020. Item B, consider the approval of a temporary on-sale intoxicating liquor license for the Church of St. Peter for their spaghetti dinner event taking place on February 16th, 2020. Item C, consider the adoption of a resolution appointing election judges for the presidential nomination primary of March 3rd, 2020, and approval of the absentee ballot board for the 2020 election cycle. Item D, first reading of an ordinance amending Section 405 of the City Code related to housing maintenance and adopting the International Property Maintenance Code. Item E, consider the approval of construction of a construction and maintenance agreement with Morey's Richfield, Morey's Jagger Land Rover that defines ownership and maintenance responsibilities for certain features constructed at 1525 East 77th Street. Item F, consider the approval of a construction and maintenance agreement with Novo LLC that defines ownership and maintenance responsibilities for certain features constructed at 2400 West 66th Street. And item G, consider the approval of a construction and maintenance agreement with Chamberlain Apartments LLC that defines ownership and maintenance responsibilities for certain features constructed at 6630, 6700, and 6701 Richfield Parkway. I submit these items for your consideration as part of the consent calendar.
Thank you, City Manager Rodriguez.
I'll move the consent calendar.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The consent calendar has been approved. Item number 4 is with Councilmember Whalen.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is actually 3 separate considerations. First, consider approval of an ordinance rezoning property at 6501 Woodlake Drive, the Market Plaza or Village Shores property. Second, consider approval of a resolution granting an amendment to the Market Plaza Village Shores planned unit development to allow a new building for a bank branch with a drive-up ATM. And third, consider approval of a resolution granting a subdivision waiver to allow the creation of a separate lot for the proposed building. Market Plaza and Village Shores, originally built in 1986 as a mixed-use residential and commercial development on the northwest corner of Lyndale Avenue and 66th Street. The property was significantly renovated and remodeled between 2016 to 2018. The applicant has now submitted plans for a new Chase Bank branch building at the corner with a drive-up ATM lane in the parking lot. And as the summary is quite long, I'll maybe just pass it over to staff to highlight some of the most important points.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Yeah, I'll just touch on the three issues separately. The rezoning, first of all, the comprehensive plan designates this site in the greater downtown area as mixed use. However, Market Plaza was developed prior to the creation of a mixed use designation, and so the property has remained zoned PMR, planned multi-family residential, I believe. State statutes require that zoning designations match the comprehensive plan, and the comprehensive plan was amended to show this area as mixed use. So we would likely be doing this step anyway. This development proposal came along, prompted us to recommend to the applicant that they do so. If this application had never come in, probably later this year, we would have been recommending a similar action. The subdivision, this is also a bit of housekeeping. The applicant is requesting the approval of a subdivision waiver to allow the creation of an outlot for the proposed bank building, and the application does meet all of the requirements of a subdivision waiver. Finally, the planned unit development, conditional use permit, and final development plan. That is the area where there's a little bit more subjectivity to that. The proposal does meet most of the requirements that we would have for these approvals. There are two ways in which it does not. One is that the requirement in the city code is that a minimum distance of 500 feet must be maintained between substantially similar uses with drive-up window or teller services as measured from property line to property line. And the purpose of this, our downtown area, again, we use the term mixed use. We are looking for a mixture of uses, a diversity of uses in there. And so we didn't want it to be dominated by any one kind of use. So the language is, if there's a restaurant with a drive-up window, there can't be another similar restaurant for 500 feet. If there's a bank with a drive-up window, there can't be one within 500 feet. Currently, there is BMO Harris Bank that is 185 feet away. It is an unusual situation because it's part of the Woodlake Center office complex, and it's kind of hidden from this location. You wouldn't necessarily see the two drive-throughs. So we think that the goal of kind of segregating similar uses is met by not the distance, but by the buildings that are in the way. Another requirement is that queuing space for at least 4 cars shall be provided as measured. And the queuing space in this case, the queuing distance in this case is much shorter. That was actually at staff's recommendation. When we talk about queuing space in our code, we don't really differentiate queuing spaces for one kind of drive-through from another. And so we say it has to be this 70-foot distance, whether it's a restaurant drive-through, whether it's a bank teller drive-through. This is an ATM. We did some research through what other cities require and what best practices are, and it does seem that 70 feet for an ATM is excessive. And with the 70 feet, they originally were showing the 70 feet. It was a much worse design, just from a circulation standpoint and an aesthetic standpoint. So staff had actually recommended that they reduce the 70 feet. One other issue that we're dealing with on this site is a grade change. There's a grade difference between the property and the roundabout. actually between the front of the property where we're talking about this location. So if you were standing in the roundabout, it actually dips down about 3 feet to the site, and then it builds back up again toward Market Plaza. And this is for the site drainage to be able to occur. This is something that the Planning Commission had some serious concerns about. The developer, and I would note that the property owner, architect, and site engineer are all here tonight, I believe. But they did make some changes and some concessions to help alleviate the appearance and the impact of the grade change. But there is still a grade change that we're dealing with. You know, I think people have asked, is this the best use for the site? And, you know, to put that in the context of the best use that the zoning will allow on the site, you know, obviously best use is a subjective term, but I do know people in the community would like to see restaurant space, would like to see some other kinds of space. You know, given the parking constraints of restaurant space, the high parking demand of restaurant space, and the fact that in the existing property, the Market Plaza property that houses the HCMC has a large parking demand, and they have put some constraints on the property in terms of their long-running lease that preserves a lot of spaces just for HCMC. So we, at the staff level, feel that the property that's being carved out, being sought to be carved out tonight, could not accommodate a restaurant space. It wouldn't be able to house the parking spaces. The question of whether a larger property could be carved out would be more of a question for the property owner, because we're not privy to exactly what the lease arrangements are with HCMC and how many parking spaces they're requiring to be dedicated to that use. So that's probably a little longer than you were looking for, but there's the information.
No, thank you. That's very helpful. For the purposes of discussion, I'd like to separate the three considerations, and first would move to consider approval of, or move to approve an ordinance rezoning the property at 6501 Woodlake Drive.
I'll second that.
Is there any council discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ordinance, or the motion has been approved.
All right, and then second, I would approve a resolution amending the planned unit development, conditional use permit, and final development plan for Market Plaza / Village Shores.
Second.
Questions or comments from council members? Councilmember Whalen.
Yeah, I would like to come back to, as Director Stark mentioned, the concerns from the Planning Commission. That one concern that was raised that I believe was resolved but is not reflected in the information we received for this vote today is that they did request, and the developer agreed to, a pedestrian path on the west side of the building. The route on the east side of the building is a little circuitous. So I guess I am somewhat disappointed to see that that was not incorporated into the plans for today. And I guess I see you looking at things. If you have that, that'd be worth showing in a second. And I guess my second question that I also would like to hear from the developer about is relating to the grade that was discussed just now by Director Stark, that was discussed in detail at the Planning Commission meeting. It is quite just unattractive to see the building like below where the sidewalk level is. It's significantly different from the other corners of that intersection. Right now it's just a parking lot, so I think you could still argue that having something there is better than just excess surface parking. But I guess I would like to hear if, like, what considerations were taken, if there specifically, if there was ever an option explored where because you currently have steps and a ramp in between the sidewalk and the building, and no steps or ramp between the building and the parking lot. And I was curious if you had considered any options that would flip that so that it could be at sidewalk level, participate in kind of the feel of that intersection, be more fully accessible as a walk-up business, and then have a ramp and stairs on the parking lot side so as to favor the experience of the majority of the community rather than the experience of just the person who pulls up in their car. So, yeah, I guess I don't know, process-wise, is it appropriate for them to?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, we've got an overhead camera here.
Mayor, council members, my name is David Knabley. I'm a civil engineer with the firm Civil Site Group. We did the civil design for this site. To answer your first question regarding the sidewalk connection for the property, so in discussions with the planner, there was a condition from Planning Commission to add this sidewalk in. We had agreed that we'd do that. We were going to wait until actual permit approvals to show that sidewalk and do all the grading and everything for that. But I did put together, it's going to be hard to see, but we do have a plan that shows the sidewalk connection. Coming on the west side, it does reduce or go in place of an existing parking stall. That's kind of out of focus, but we've got some sidewalk and stairs at this location on the west side of the existing monument sign. But we have the connection there. It's a sidewalk with some stairs, handrail on the west side. So we can definitely provide that. So yeah, it's there on the west side. So we can do that. The second question you had was in regards to the grades out here. So, going into it, we knew there was an issue with grading for this parking lot. And ideally, we also would have preferred to get this building level with the existing roundabout so you could have walk up from the street side. But the biggest issue was the discrepancy, and the discrepancy was there currently. When you look at the site now where that trellis is, that does come up. This parking lot is ramped up for that trellis to get it flush with the roundabout. But on the north side or south side of that trellis, there is an existing retaining wall. It's about 2.5 feet tall there. That's the grade difference between the parking lot and the roundabout itself, which is what's reflected in the grade difference in our plans. So one option, if we tried to eliminate that, which we didn't think was feasible, would be to reconstruct the existing parking lot and try to raise up the existing parking lot that 2.5 feet so that you didn't have the grade discrepancy. And to do that, it's about the area shown in orange on this plan, which is about 35,000 square feet of parking lot. It would have been raised up a couple feet. Curb and gutter would have been reconstructed. Light poles, storm sewer infrastructure would all had been reconstructed. And it wasn't really feasible for this project and this site to do that. The second option to put the ramping on the parking lot side, we also looked at that as well. And to get that to work and to function would have required eliminating almost all of the parking stalls at the front of the building to put in the ramp and stair feature there to get that grade up, which, because of the limited number of parking stalls that are out here and the requirement for HEMC with their parking and the lease for the existing property owner, that wasn't feasible to eliminate all of those parking stalls also. So we feel the design that we provided is the best kind of case scenario out here. So if you have any other questions, I'm more than willing to help try to answer them. But that was our thought process in putting the plan together.
I also had some questions. So I did have questions on the grading, which you just talked about now. And so why are you proposing a drive-through? I looked at your other branches across Minnesota and the Twin Cities, and there's ones that don't have drive-through ATMs. So could you speak to having the drive-through here in Richfield versus having that option in the entrance of the building?
I'd like to bring up our architect. He's working more closely with the bank branch themselves. Answer that question.
Hi, good evening. My name is Teron Wright. I work for the Architects Partnership. We are the architect of record for Chase Bank. To answer your question regarding the drive-through, it is a convenience for JPMC's customers. If it is permitted by right, they would opt to include them on every freestanding branch if possible.
Okay, so if it's a possibility here in Richfield, so it's in the design.
Correct.
And in terms of considering, if we asked you to consider moving that out and not having the drive-through, is that something that you would be able to go back and look at and come back to us?
That is a conversation that we can have with JPMC.
Excellent, thank you. Let's see here. Other questions? Oh, sorry. Councilmember Whalen?
Thank you, Mayor. I just was going to ask the staff, are these concerns with, just thinking of, from the perspective of what we would like to see and what kind of that subjective conversation you were having earlier of what would be the best use, are these grade problems something that we would see with any proposed development if it was a building that was more than one story and already needed to have like multiple levels and an elevator? Is that would this be mitigated somewhat by that, or is this going to be inherent to this site no matter what the proposal is?
No, Councilmember Whalen, I think you're exactly right. If there was a proposal that required subsurface construction, if there was a proposal that required a parking ramp, that would be, they would have to address that grade difference in a different way and would possibly be able to accommodate it more.
Other questions from council members? So I appreciated the discussion I had with staff earlier on this issue in terms of looking at this area and seeing that there's a lot of other spaces that have been intentionally designed to create walk-up entrances to make it walkable, bikeable in an area where we have a lot of density in residents. And then to see this proposal where it's just, it doesn't match that as well, is difficult and not necessarily what I would like for that corner. But then speaking to staff about other uses that we would be able to put there, such as restaurants, that would have more of that feel, there's actually logistical barriers to doing so. I have a question on requesting to come back in 2 more weeks and tabling this item to look into 3 things, and I wanted to ask staff about it. So I'm interested in, and I want to get more information, but I would like the staff to sit with the developer to go through the grading issues and help ensure that every single grading issue was taken into consideration and that the option that they are giving is the best option. And then also, I am concerned about the amount of drive-thrus that we have, and this is a separate issue, but it's related. Maybe there's a memo or an update we can get to council about drive-thrus. I know some of our surrounding cities no longer allow drive-thrus in their community, and I want to look at that a little bit more broadly, but also working with them to consider pulling the drive-thru piece out, because that is an area that already does have quite a few drive-thrus. And then Director Stark, you talked about the parking contract with Hennepin Health, and it sounds like there would be a question to ask. Could we find out more information on that parking agreement, and if that is something that is already contracted and in their partnership for many years out, or if that is something that can be negotiated, because we have seen that while they do ask for quite a bit of parking, it is still underutilized. Is that a possibility, and how would that affect the timing with this application?
Madam Mayor, certainly these 3 things are a possibility. In terms of how it would affect the timing, from staff's perspective, there aren't any concerns on our part. This would still fall within the time frame that you're allowed to make land use decisions. I don't know whether it would have a detrimental impact on the property owner or the developer's timeline.
Is there, I don't know if there's an answer to that right now, or if that's something that the developer would be willing to do with our staff, is look at those options and come back in 2 weeks.
For the record, I think I'm seeing a head nod in the audience.
Thank you. So I would like to make that proposal to table this specific item, because I think they're, these are kind of big, issues with this PUD that I do want to make sure we've looked at every single option. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, just a procedural clarification. So you have a motion on the table,
Mhm.
so that either needs to be withdrawn or you need to vote on it.
Yeah, let's vote on it.
And then make a new motion to table, if that's
Okay.
what you wish to do.
I will withdraw my motion to approve the resolution amending the planned unit development, conditional use permit, and final development plan for Market Plaza or Village Shores.
And as the seconder, I'm okay with withdrawing the motion.
So then do I make the motion with the amendment then, or it's
Do we
not
vote on that?
necessary?
Madam Mayor, I understood you were going to make a motion to
To
table.
table.
the
Oh,
matter.
yeah,
Right.
sorry. Do I make the
Right.
motion to table and
Correct.
then explain the three things that I'd like
Yes,
to?
yes.
Okay.
Be 2 and 3.
No, it would just be for item 2. Is that correct? Because the third one is a separate, more.
Yeah,
Doesn't
but I think that they
3
kind
depend
of
on
go hand
2?
in hand. I would recommend tabling 2 and 3.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to make the motion to table items number 2 and 3, and so that the developer can specifically work with our staff on looking at all of the grading options and ensuring that the option that they do propose is the best option. And the second thing is looking at removing the drive-through and having that in the entryway. And the third is having discussions with the landlord to look at the situation with the parking agreement with Hennepin Health.
I'll second that.
Any comments from council?
I'll just say I don't want to misconstrue where I'm at. I'm excited. I was considering a similar thing. I'm excited that we are tabling this, exploring more options. I was not going to be excited to just straight up vote no. I'd like to see some more possibilities with this, and don't want to just dismiss it. So I look forward to seeing what we can come up with and seeing if we can address some of these concerns.
Thank you, Councilmember Whalen. Looks like the lights went out. Thank you, Councilmember Whalen, and I appreciate those comments. That is why I am tabling also, because I am interested in this proposal. It wasn't just a straight no vote, but I did want to get more information. Other comments from council members? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right. The motion has been approved to table items number 2 and 3. Thank you. The next item has been removed. Item number 5, the American Legion. And the next item, number 6, will go to Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. This is, we're going to consider a resolution to support the coordinated census efforts and funding to ensure that all Richfield residents are counted in the 2020 census. Richfield's leading that effort, and the resolution attached, the city of Richfield was seeking for financial support. We did get an initial amount of money, but we were looking for some other financial support from Hennepin County to ensure that all residents are counted, especially those in a hard-to-count communities such as Richfield. The city of Richfield seeks support from the county, state, and federal representatives to coordinate our outreach and mobilize communities. The city of Richfield seeks to serve as coordinated entity that will support the efforts of the U.S. Census Bureau to ensure a complete and accurate reporting. And I know that there was some money that was to be, that was before the Hennepin County Board today that did not pass, and that was to award other grant monies. But nevertheless, the fact is that this will happen, you know, it'll start in March and end in July. And we will have other opportunities to tap into some monies, and we want to be, you know, ready to step into that. This census is really a coordinated effort in the whole country, and so it's all the entities that are, whether it's Hennepin County or the city, you know. And one of the reasons is that if we don't do a good count, then we might lose a member of Congress, and we don't want to do that. The other thing is that we receive federal monies based on the census count, and that is very, very important. You know, because Richfield has an awful lot of needs, and I think we can utilize that money to accommodate, you know, the problems that we will have. Anyway, so let me see what else was. The other thing is, if you know, when somebody knocks at your door or you get your census questionnaire, be sure and answer it. You know, everyone's afraid that, you know, well, it might, you know, somebody might come, and it doesn't have to do anything other than the fact that you live in Richfield. What your status in immigration is does not matter. So, Mayor, I want to move that we adopt the resolution to support the Richfield Count Census 2020 campaign.
Second.
Council comments? I would just like to thank our executive analyst, Blanca Martinez Gavinia, for leading the efforts here in Richfield, working with organizations, with residents. This particularly impacts Richfield as one of the highest percentage of hard-to-count populations in the state of Minnesota, with communities of color, immigrants, refugees, and community members with disabilities here in our community. So thank you for leading the work, Blanca, and this is an effort that we will continue to have to lead together with everyone talking to their neighbors, ensuring that we are addressing those concerns, that very legitimate concerns that community members have about sharing information for the census. So this is a community effort, and muchas gracias a Blanca por su liderazgo en esto. Thank you. Any other comments? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion has been approved. The next item is for council consideration is the violation hearing and consideration of a resolution regarding civil enforcement for establishments that recently underwent alcohol compliance checks conducted by Richfield Public Safety Staff and failed by selling alcohol to underage youth, excuse me. Richfield Public Safety Staff conducted phase 2 of an alcohol compliance check for 2019. These checks are done to determine the availability of alcohol to underage youth to meet a state statute. There are currently 36 establishments that hold licenses to sell alcohol in Richfield. Compliance checks were conducted at all 36 establishments. 3 of the 36 establishments sold alcohol to underage youth. The actions being taken today is for civil enforcement and penalties against those establishments. Number 1, VPC, Richfield Pizza, LLC, doing business as Giordano's of Richfield, located at 3066 Street West. Number 2, El Tejaban Mexican Grill, LLC, doing business as El Tejaban Mexican Grill, located at 6519 Nicollet Avenue South. Number 3, Jimenez Genano, LLC, doing business as La Vaquita 2, located at 607 77th Street East. This is a first alcohol compliance check failure for VPC Richfield Pizza, doing business as Giordano's of Richfield, located at 3066 Street West. They have no previous failures. This is also the first alcohol compliance check failure for El Tejaban Mexican Restaurant, doing business as El Tejaban Mexican Grill, located at 6519 Nicollet Avenue South. They have no previous failures. This is also the first alcohol compliance check failure for Jimenez Giannano LLC, doing business as La Vaquita 2, located at 607 77th Street East. They have no previous failures. The establishments will be given an opportunity to either admit they made an unlawful sale to a minor and agree to the penalties imposed by the City Council, or deny the allegations and request to contest the case hearing. If they admit to the violation, the council will adopt the resolution imposing penalties. If they deny the allegations and request a contested case hearing, the City Council will refer the matter to an independent hearing examiner. They will be notified of the date of the hearing and will be provided an opportunity to present evidence to the city to rebut the city's evidence. For first-time violators, Public Safety recommends the City Council follow the guidelines set forth in Resolution Number 9511, which are to suspend the license to sell alcohol for 5 days and pay a $1,000 fine, require a meeting with the Public Safety Director to present a written action plan to ensure elimination of future failures, and require a manager to attend alcohol compliance and sales awareness training conducted by a private firm approved by Public Safety with all the costs paid by the establishment. So I'm just, I don't know if there's any additional items on this. This seems pretty clear cut. No. All right.
Do you need someone to make the motion?
Yep.
So I would move to approve the attached resolutions regarding civil enforcement for VPC Richfield Pizza LLC, doing business as Giordano's of Richfield, located at 3066th Street West, El Tejaban Mexican Restaurant LLC, doing business as El Tejaban Mexican Grill, located at 6519 Nicollet Avenue South, and Jimenez Hanau LLC, doing business as La Vaquita 2, located at 607 77th Street East. These establishments failed alcohol compliance checks by selling alcohol to an underage youth.
I'll second that.
Any questions or comments from
Mayor?
council members? Yes, City
Actually, we do
Manager.
need to have the representatives from the establishments come up to the podium.
Okay, if we could have the representatives from these 3 establishments please come up to the podium. Right here. You can go to the microphone there, thank you.
Mayor, I will share that one of the establishments had to leave suddenly, so I've spoken with her, and she's aware of what's coming. So she will not be represented from La Vaquita tonight. She had to leave.
Okay, so in terms of the establishments being here, what is the ask? Just to decide if they want to comply with, okay.
Correct.
Excellent. Hi, if you could please introduce yourself.
Council members, Mayor, my name is Eric Holland. I run the Giordano's in Richfield, Minnesota. This is the regional manager from Chicago. He flew in today for this meeting. I just wanted to apologize by our actions. The server that did this had been with me for 4.5 years from the beginning. She has completed 3 other tests and complied with those tests in the 4.5 years. We have extensive responsible alcohol certifications. All of my 8 members that serve alcohol are certified through Richfield and have license. The young lady that this happened to just got back from drill from the National Guard, hadn't worked for 6 days. It was 2 weeks before Christmas, and she was doing finals for college. I was there. I saw her card the members. So mechanically she did it, and yet she still served them. When the officers took us into the office, obviously she was devastated. But she just said that her mind, she just wasn't thinking because she had so much going on in her head. And we do pre-shifts, and then that day before this happened, I actually talked about this right before this happened. She's a great girl. I feel bad for her. She never worked for me. I had to send her home at that time, never worked for us again. But I just asked for leniency, but we definitely did not comply.
Thank you very much. So you are admitting to the violation and then will take the recommended actions.
That is correct.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and thank you for speaking. Hi.
Hello, my name is Wendy. I'm the general manager at El Tejaba Mexican Grill. We want to apologize for the violation that happened that day. And we are admitting to the violation as well. We are taking further steps to educate once more our staff, our servers, in regards to serving alcohol. And I myself will be taking other training in that area as well. In the 10, 11 plus years we've been in business, we pride ourselves in being very lawful. We've had multiple attempts and minors trying to buy alcohol with us, and we're very strict about it. Unfortunately, we were short-staffed in that flu season, and family friend came in to help us. It happened to be the person that sold to the minors. She carded them as well, completely went blank-minded and sold to them. She no longer, as a family friend, can help us at all as well. We're taking, as we told you, all the steps that we can, and we agree to all the penalties.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming and sharing and speaking. Thank you. And then a point of clarification for the third business. So how does it work? Do they do it via email to admit to the violations and then say that they will be taking the recommended actions, or what does that look like?
Yeah, she admitted to me that they did make the sale, and she is in agreement with the recommended actions by the city.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So we did the motion, the second. All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion has been approved. Thank you very much. The next item is consideration of the appointments to city advisory boards and commissions. Terms of several city advisory commission members expire on January 31st, 2020. In addition to some resignations, there are midterm vacancies that should be filled. Terms for advisory commissions are 3 years. Please refer to the attached list of appointments for reference. The City Council directs the City Manager's Office to conduct an annual recruitment seeking applicants to fill these vacancies. The recruitment includes a press release, and information on the city's website and social media platforms. Applicants were interviewed at the work session on January 11th and January 16th, 2020. To ensure a quorum at future advisory committee meetings, the City Council should make advisory commission appointments at the January 28th, 2020 council meeting. I don't think there's any clarification needed on this one. This is also pretty straightforward. So would someone like to make a motion?
I will move that we, what was the resolution? Let's see.
Appoint members.
Oh, yeah, that we appoint members to
fill
to the commissions for the next.
Let me, 1 second.
What,
Do you want me to pull it up so
yeah.
you can see the? Okay, here's the motion.
Oh, yeah, okay. Appoint members to fill the expiring or vacant terms on city advisory commissions referenced in the attached list.
Second.
And I just, so I'll make that motion, and I wanted to say that, we wanted to mention that we had an awful lot of applicants. They were really, folks that we were very impressed with. They want to participate in the city, and this is one way of doing it. And another thing that we do is we'll send a list for those that didn't get appointed, send them a list of other city organizations and community organizations that they can apply to and participate in a different manner. So that's I moved.
Councilmember Garcia, and it was moved and seconded. Additional council comments? Councilmember Whalen, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm excited for all of the folks that are joining. As Councilmember Garcia stated, We had a lot of applicants, around 50 for not nearly as many spots, and that's, as several people have commented, that it's not so long ago that it was hard to fill these positions, but we have a bunch of really wonderful residents who are stepping up to be part of this and who want to shape the future of our community. So thank you to everyone who applied, and also I'm excited, this includes the new Sustainability Commission, so I'm excited to get that up and running next month.
Thank you. Councilmember Supple.
I just wanted to echo those thanks to all the community and to everyone who's volunteered, and I hope that we continue having such a good turnout and so many people interested in helping.
Absolutely. Thank you very much to all the residents who applied. Thank you to Blanca and Kelly for preparing, doing all of the work to set up these interviews and get the profiles together and helping us schedule so many people, 50 people for 15-minute interviews. So thank you for doing that. And then also just a reminder to folks, we did change the guidance about 1.5 years ago because we have had so many people interested in our boards and commissions. We previously used to approve people for up to 3 terms, which was a total of 9 years, because it was hard to fill these positions. But since in the past few years we've had so much interest, we have moved that to renewing people for 2 terms, and then if they apply for a 3rd term, we give preference to new applicants who are interested in those boards and commissions. If there's no one there and they would like to apply for a 3rd term, we do reappoint them. So there were a couple people impacted by that change. I will read the list of appointments and then the emails will go out to everybody. So for the Advisory Board of Health, we are appointing Ray Black, Sarah Lundberg, and Katrina DeVore. Arts Commission, Janie Mork, Mia Simpson, and Brittany Turshin. Civil Service Commission, Mary Stratton and Jackie Harris. On the Community Services Commission, we have David Benson, Mijab Ahmed, Stephanie Nouadou, and Heather McDonald. Friendship City Commission, we will be appointing Cecilia Wright and James Shower. For the Human Rights Commission, Mara Gluback and Fauntina Thompson Robinson. Planning Commission, Allison Hoberg and Brian Pinn. The Transportation Commission, we are recommending Dan Edgerton, Kyle Schmidt, Molly O'Howard, and Louis Drizek. And the Sustainability Commission, Jeremy Barthels, Amanda Keeper, Laura Dunberg Gruno, Brian Shaw, Cameron Murray, Alyssa Sandin, and Carolyn Engeldinger.
That was a good job, Mayor, reading all of those names.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion has been approved. The next item is the city manager's report.
Nothing to report tonight, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Last item before we go to open forum is claims and payroll. Councilmember Garcia.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I will move claims and payroll.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Claims and payroll has been approved. Excellent. Thank you very much. Our next item on the agenda is the open forum. If you have additional cards or would like to speak, if you would like, if you have cards and you have not turned them in yet to Blanca, please do so. Our first person for the open forum is Wilmarie Quinones. Thank you.
Body cameras, data responses. They change their whole agenda just to ignore us or hope that we leave. Today's my 28th birthday and I'm here.
Can you speak directly into the microphone, please?
Thank you. I didn't come here to ask for anything today. I came here to talk to you guys about how we're spending our life after my brother's death. And I might bore you and I might be here for a while. Come on, baby. Come on. You can come up here.
So to clarify, in terms of the data requests that have been submitted, my understanding is that those data requests have been fulfilled in responding
They
to.
weren't. You guys are just gonna like make our life, you're making our life difficult and you're making your own job difficult. We're gonna be here every other Tuesday. We're going to be here. We're not going anywhere until we get answers.
We made that change a while back. That was something that we have been doing.
When we gave them a little break for the holidays, that's when they probably thought we weren't gonna come back, and they did it as soon as we got here. You literally trying to humiliate us every time we're here. That's all it is.
I would like to make a statement or general comment. My name is Oscar Claro. My friend was Brian Quinones. He was also my barber. And there are some things that I've noticed while we've had this Richfield City. Ms. Garcia, I noticed that your last name's Garcia. I noticed Gonzalez. I noticed a lot of foreign Spanish descended surnames, last names, and that's besides the point. But I'd like to address that. One, you guys pointed out violations, right, within people serving under minors, underage people. And then I also noticed that when you mentioned something about whatever council members that you have that you appointed with 2 terms and that your preferred people, you've mentioned that they can get elected for a 3rd term. That means that you have a preference, right? And then as I was sitting outside, I noticed that the officers were talking to the people who had the violations, and they talked about, oh, we'll work with them. And there's something that the family wants. There's something that the people want. There's something that you guys want. We all want something. We all self-serving. We all want something for ourselves. If the family wants something and their simple demands or their simple wants, like let's say firing of police officers, there are young Americans every day turning 18 years old. They're going into academy. They're graduating schools. Why not fire those and then just hire double the amount of police officers that you just fired? There are certain things that are common sense and logical that can be done. And I have a lot of anxiety right now. My daughter is right over there, just chilling, minding her own business. I am a single father. Minnesota has made mistakes. I have domestic violence on my record. I have theft on my record. Yet I have sole and full legal custody. Every day there's changes just like the seasons, and certain things need to change. And what needs to happen here is more pressure on you guys. I don't know what kind of pressure, but something needs to happen that you guys is gonna click in your brains. I don't know what it is. You know, it's just like I see you guys all unhealthy. You know, you guys aren't running your 20 minutes a day. You guys aren't doing the things that you need to do to stay in shape. If I so chose to outrun all you guys, I can do that. You know, and if you guys wanted to outrun me, what would you need to do that? You guys need to start getting on the treadmill, start, you know, taking down them calories down. But there's things that need to do. You guys need to do. You need to take the initiative towards these people, my family, my friends. That needs to change. The guy's dead here. Police officers are continuing with their lives peacefully. I don't know what they're doing, but for me to see my friends and my family come here all the time, and I'm seeing Facebook posts, it's just really sad and it's really disturbing that you guys are here for the people. What is this nation founded on? For the people, right? And we run this, you know. People run this. Your jobs can be easily taken from you guys, one way or another. That's besides the point. But something needs to happen here, and it's kind of ridiculous that we're all here all the time. This is my first time here, and you guys really need to take into consideration that we're coming all the time. We're just gonna keep on coming. And is there a different type of pressure? What is it that we need to do as a people for us to get y'all attention? But obviously, it goes both ways. It's a relationship. It's give and take. You know, it's a compromise.
What haven't we done is the question. We've been here peacefully. We've came here to ask for simple things that you guys can't give us. You guys don't even respond to us. You guys don't even talk to us. We saw you talk to almost every person in this room that you were talking to about your agenda, and you can't say a word to us. You think I want to be here on my birthday? I don't want to be here. We're nobody to you. Like, who are we? They are still they still live here in Richfield. That disgusts me. I don't like that they live here. I don't want to come visit them. I've told you guys that already. What are you guys doing for them? You guys aren't doing anything. To hear him say a man is dead, my brother is dead. Do you know how that feels? You don't.
Another thing too, Ms. Garcia, right? She said that she pleaded with aid or she's asking this group community effort. You know, that's the same thing we're asking you guys. You guys are the city. We're asking you to come with a resolution, help family closure of a man who's dead.
We're ghosts in this room.
You know, so it's like, what are you really doing?
For those of you that are new in the building, my brother was killed by 5 Richfield police. And we come here every other Tuesday. We put in data requests. We ask them for police files, videos on their dash cameras that they refuse to give us. They don't wear body cams. They agreed to show us the video and backed out in less than 24 hours of the viewing. And we want to know why. It seems suspect, doesn't it? We come here, we try to get a response, they don't say anything to us. And every time, I think we get on their last nerve. They adjourn every meeting we come to. They leave us with every word in our mouth, on the tip of our tongue.
I mean, honestly, it looks like you guys are about action and everything else.
Quiet.
You guys are really about action.
Just quiet.
Crack down on people serving underage drinks, police officers working with the people so it doesn't ensure that it doesn't happen again. There's better training. But what's up with you guys? It's really the question. What you guys are really doing?
How long? How long are they going to be under investigation?
Could I respond to that?
Yes.
So I understand that this has been completely frustrating, and I don't understand from your perspective of losing your brother. But I know that this has been frustrating because you have shared that with us every single time that you have come. And As you know, that this investigation is being conducted right now by Hennepin County, and that is in Hennepin County's hands. We have been in full cooperation with
Not
the
with us.
county in their investigation. We've responded to data requests. We've posted our information on the website that we can post and share with the public on our website. We have recently communicated with the Hennepin County attorney and his office, requesting that they move quickly on this investigation so that we can get to a conclusion of the investigation. It's been nearly 5 months since this incident, and we know that it's been extremely difficult. We are also looking for answers, and we are asking for the expedited process of the investigation as well. And we are committed to moving forward.
She can email it. We don't have to come back. We'll be back regardless. We come here every 2 weeks. They have to have seen them. How is it?
No, we haven't.
Why haven't we got to see the dash cam videos when you guys came to an agreement? We seen Edina's. We haven't bothered Edina anymore. We haven't.
Thank you. So we have other people here for the forum. Can I call them up? Are you still speaking?
I didn't get a chance. I think a lot of other people have more to say. I was being more sentimental to see if you guys would open up a little bit and talk a little bit more. But if other people have something to say, yeah, they can go ahead.
Thank you.
I just have one last question. Do you guys have the power to?
They did it 2 years, 3 years ago. They did it 3 years ago.
So you said no, and she said yes. So is it yes or no? Do you have power? The city council members have power to dismiss police officers as mayor. Does the mayor have power? Yes or no?
No.
Thank you.
I would like to call up Isis Ebby to the microphone.
My name is Isis. When I first met Ashley and heard her tell her story about Brian's murder, I was completely and utterly outraged at the cops who killed him in cold blood. Only 14 seconds after he exited his vehicle, he was gunned down by 16 bullets. 16 shots. I asked myself why it took 16 shots, and then I remembered why. Because police are threatened by people who have a different skin color than they do. That is not an excuse to take an innocent man's life. Not only did they take away his life by murdering him, but they also took away Ashley's life, Cameron's life, Wilma's life, his mom, who flew from Puerto Rico to be here. You are all no better than the cops who killed him. You sit there protecting them instead of doing what's right by giving us the dash cam footage that needs to be seen, but you can't protect them forever. I just want to know how you all lay your heads down at night, knowing you're protecting killers, knowing you've ruined the lives of members of your community, the community you claim to care so much about. I want to know how you sleep at night knowing there are killer cops still in the street. How would you feel if your loved one was killed unjustly by a police officer simply for who they are? And I sat where you are now protecting those officers, not giving you the justice you deserve for your loved one. You may have not pulled the trigger, but you certainly all have blood on your hands. I don't live in Richfield. I'm a resident of St. Paul, but I come up here often with my younger brother. I'm Black and Puerto Rican as well as a Muslim Palestinian. My brother's light-skinned, a little darker than me. I don't feel safe when I come to Richfield with him. I don't know what I'd do if we got pulled over by the same cops who murdered Brian. Would they shoot my brother for the color of his skin? Or would they shoot me for the color of my skin, seeing as I'm only a little lighter than Brian was? I don't want my brother to become a hashtag. When Cameron gets a driver's license, I don't want Cameron to become a hashtag. I want the officers who murdered Brian off the streets. I don't have to not live here to not feel safe.
Thank you. I would like to call up Keith McCarran.
Hi, so I asked a question earlier about what is the dash cam video for? What is the purpose of the dash cam video? Who does that serve? Nobody knows? Nobody knows who the dash cam video serves? Or is that a obtuse question? See, we pay for that dash cam video. So it serves us. We pay for the police department. So they're supposed to serve us. My question, is mental health crisis a crime? Is that a criminal act? How about you, Chief? Mental health crisis, is that a crime? Is that a crime? Do you have a procedure for dealing with mental health crisis? So evidently, this is the silent city that has nothing to say. So my point is, you can sit here and talk about the grading. We want to have this building raised up. We want the building sink down. We have these grand things for our city. But meanwhile, you've got somebody who's been murdered in the street while having a mental health crisis, and you've got nothing to say. So evidently, we come to you every 2 weeks, but maybe what we need to do is come to your house. The police roll by Ashley's house on a regular basis to harass her, to scare her, and Shara's. So maybe we need to start coming to your house. Would that get your attention? Would you have something to say? I don't know. I just want to appeal to you. What does it take for you to open your mouth and say something? You've already said that you would comply with the request for the information. You've already said you would expedite that. And then it was just asked, can you just put that down on paper so there's something to be accountable for? That's all people are asking for. Accountability, compassion, humanity. Nobody likes standing here and putting you guys on the spot. No, nobody wants to do that. I took a bus out here from Minneapolis. I didn't want to ride a bus for an hour and a half. I care about these people. Why can't you care? They're your constituency. Why can't you care? Can you not feel the trauma that they go through repeatedly over and over and over and over? Why do you re-traumatize them? Think about that. Before you lay your head down tonight, think about, why do you make them tell the same story over and over and over, and what a nightmare that is?
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Maria Rosario. I'm Brian Quiñones' mom. I hope it's you and you are a mother thinking about this. I went back to Puerto Rico, to my country, because I can't handle this. And now I have to coming back and still the same thing. You got to hug hard. Oh my God, this is killing me. And I still have 2 sons and 2 grandsons. I want to know what type of work I'm doing. Please. I want to know.
So heartbreaking, dog.
You guys see what you guys did to my aunt, and you guys are happy with this shit? You guys are okay with this?
Is she okay?
Can I get some water at least?
Okay.
Instead of you guys just sitting there?
Is she okay? Is she okay?
What the fuck y'all got police for? They don't help with shit. Ustedes no sirven para nada. Ustedes no sirven para nada. I hope you guys are really proud.
Nah, she don't want need to be in here no more. Especially dealing with your guys' late masses.
Thank you for making our life work.
Everybody's here to love and to help each other.
I hope you guys all take that how this family's been feeling. Every single day you have to do it. Every single day I sit in the room and I cry. Every single day. It sucks. You come here, try to comply by your guys' rules, but no. It's not good enough for you guys. Nothing's good enough for you guys unless it's your own people who you fucking defend. It's ridiculous. You guys only defend your own.
Is Paul Bogman still here? Please come to the podium.
My name's Paul. My name's Paul Bosman. I'm a lawyer in Minneapolis. Normally I don't come to Richfield for this, and I'm involved with Communities United Against Police Brutality. What I heard you say was that you're withholding, at least what I thought I heard you say, Mayor, was that you're withholding the data because it's currently part of a current criminal investigation. Minnesota Data Practices Act, I'm going to direct this to the city attorney as well. 13.82, subdivision 7, says except for the data defined in these other subsections, investigative data collected or created by a law enforcement agency in order to prepare a case against a person, whether known or unknown, for the commission of a crime or other offense, for which the agency has primary investigative responsibility, are confidential or protected non-public while the investigation is active. The thing that you also said, this investigation is now the primary responsibility of Hennepin County. So now that Hennepin County is the primary investigative agency, they are not allowed to release the data according to the Data Practices Act. And according to that subsection, the city of Richfield is not allowed to withhold it. Now, if I had gone out 15 minutes ago and taken up a collection, I'm pretty sure we could raise a filing fee. But it seems better that the city attorney take a look at it and you release that data before someone has to bring a civil suit to make that happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like to ask Don Williams up to speak.
I'm Don Williams, Brian Quinones, and I'm proud to say this is my grandson. Those of you that have been here before know that. This is all recorded, right? So if I had to say something to Simon, he'd get it, he'd understand, he'd see it, right? Okay. I still hold all of you in the greatest disdain, all right? You are not my favorite people. But I will tell you this. After the last time we were here, only one of you made any effort whatsoever to talk to my great-grandson and my granddaughter, and it was Simon. He showed a little class, something I haven't seen out of you. Homicide, by the Oxford Dictionary, is a deliberate and unlawful killing of one person by another. It's murder. Ladies and gentlemen, you reside in Richfield. The Richfield Police Department's mission statement is, it is the mission of the Richfield Police Department to safeguard the lives and property of the people we serve, to reduce the incidence and fear of crime, and to enhance public safety while working with the community to improve their quality of life. Fail. 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 At this time, there are 3 Richfield police officers who assassinated and murdered my grandson walking the street of Richfield. Back on the job. Citizens of Richfield, how safe do you feel? Am I correct that on October 3rd, 2015, you had an officer here who got in trouble for slapping a kid? Chief, right? Just nod your head, yes or no. I got it right here. Okay. Hennepin County didn't do anything about it. A special prosecutor didn't do anything about it. But you guys took it on the cuff here and went out and fired him. You investigated your own people. Good for you. For slapping a kid. Awesome. You fired him, and you had to put him back to work. Okay? I don't know, is this the only cop that wears a body cam? Is that the guy? Because I know that only one of you do. Okay? And this was a bad boy. All right? Chief, you said that we are extremely disappointed with the arbitrator's decision. We have to put this guy back to work. We do not agree with this decision, nor do we condone this type of behavior. You went on to state that this officer was given every opportunity to correct his behavior, and he never did. That's why you fired him. This decision strikes to the heart of what police officers are not supposed to do, Chief Henthorne said. We are sworn to protect and serve, not hurt and humiliate. I don't think so. The chief said his department is working hard to create a culture of accountability, false, and build trust with the community. Citizens of Richfield, there's 3 police officers walking the street. They're murderers, by definition. The city will consider the use of body cameras for its officers and extensive retraining of all sworn police personnel. It's also looking into options to appeal this decision. Okay? Here we go. Gonna rock on. Move on a little further here. So, on June 26th, 2018, 2 years ago, you held a little service and you welcomed some new police officers to the force. Okay? This is you again, Chief. These officers exemplify the department mission, which is to safeguard the lives and property of the people we serve, to reduce the incidents and fear of crime, and to enhance the public safety while working with the community to improve their quality of life. These 4 officers have completed a month-long academy. A month-long academy? Along with rigorous field training program where they were taught to police the Richfield way. Just what the hell is the Richfield way? What's this intensive, rigorous field training program? A month-long academy? Coffee and cookies? What is your way? Shoot first, treat the family like shit later? I don't know. It's kind of what our experience is. Council member Maria Reagan Gonzalez, you're the mayor now. Congrats. You said the city is indebted to the officers' commitment and passion for protecting the community of Richfield. All of your citizens? Just a limited few. Thank you to the families as well, because we know this is extremely tough work. I don't doubt it. I actually believe in law enforcement. I have friends that are police officers. But there's an issue with police officers here, and there's a systemic issue in this country and in this state with how you handle your force cases. Edwina, you don't get away. Can't shut me down. Okay? You know, one of the things the city council does is to really support our police officers. And the reason we support them is because we believe in the work they do. That's great. Okay? Let's see. One of the things I really like when you hand out these awards, Chief, is that you see members of the officers' families. That's really important that you support our police officers because we support them. It's important that you support them. You encourage them and take good care of them for us. Who's going to take care of us from them? We've been here several times. Ms. Garcia, you've managed to try to shut down a meeting on us every time we're here. Not one word of compassion for this family. Not one word of, can we help you? Not one word of, what do you need? Nothing. You shouldn't be here. So I got another article here, Chief, talking about looking at your body-worn camera policy. It was created in 2014, and then the legislature passed the new law concerning body-worn cameras in 2016. Your policy was not adequate. That's inadequate. You added an addendum to the current policy, and you added in the legislative mandates. Cool, it lengthened the policy, made it longer to read. You said the topics that were covered in a meeting highlighted some of the more controversial concerns with body-worn cameras, such as mandatory recording. Why would you wear them if it wasn't mandatory to record them? 15 different circumstances in which the cameras will have to be activated, from vehicle pursuits to initiating arrests, all frisks and searches, vehicle custody transport, and any traffic stop. Let me see. Brian's was a traffic stop. Yeah. But, So beyond the mandated scenarios described, officer will be encouraged to activate the body-worn camera when he feels it's necessary based on his training and judgment. That month-long academy, that rigorous training. Okay. Except when recording is prohibited under this policy. Hey, you're asking officers just to turn them on. That's awesome. Turn on your body cameras. Oh, shit, we don't have them. Okay. Data practices, data retention was another controversial topic. Doggone it. All this stuff getting in the way. Redacted. Body-worn camera. Data is private. Body-worn cameras that is collected being used in active investigations is confidential. All under Chapter 13.82, let's see, public data under the law is the discharge of a firearm by a police officer in the course of duty. Data that documents use of force of a police officer that results in bodily harm. Data that documents the final disciplinary action against a public employee. That's private, right? You tested it by stopping juveniles in a car. Worried about how long it'll take you to redact information, right? That's to protect the innocent, right? Is it? Why is this investigation taking 5 months? What are we redacting? Just out of curiosity. What are we redacting? This family comes here in pain. This family comes here and wants something. And you don't give shit. I thought for a minute there that you guys had sucked my will right out of me. I thought that you had sucked my spirit out of me. Because today was depression for me. I don't suffer clinical depression. Okay? And so, you know, mental health, I'm not sure Brian suffered mental health. All right? I think what happened is you recklessly got out of your cars and started popping. But I'm not a cop. I don't investigate cops, because cops investigating cops is asinine and stupid to me. But I'm disappointed. I'm heartbroken. My grandson loves hockey. His favorite thing. You know what? I got to struggle and fight to get him to rinks on game days or practices. That's where he's at right now. He got nothing. He got nothing. And I look at you people, and you live your lives, and you do what you do, and you really act like you don't care. Simon said something to us last week. Good for you, Simon, if it's true. I doubt it, because you can't prove it. Mayor, you said you've done this, that, and the other thing with Hennepin County. I don't believe you. And you won't prove it. And I'll come back here in 2 weeks and ask you to prove it. This young lady in the front asked you to prove it in 2 weeks. You won't. Because that's how you work. You're politicians. You're not people anymore. You don't share compassion for your community. You build sidewalks. You put $2.25 million into a hockey rink. Hey, I'm a hockey guy. I love hockey. Why aren't your cops wearing body cams? Got to go buy a dash cam. What it can get. Okay. I long for the day that this part of our fight and our struggle is over. I really do. I don't like being here. You've shown me a side of people that I don't want to know. And it's a part-time gig, right? This your full-time pop? It's amazing how you can affect that many people on a part-time gig. pray for my grandson. I pray for my granddaughter and my great-grandson every day. You people in Richfield that live here, you anesthetized citizens who think the police here are to do great things for you and by you, wake up. Wake up. All of my grandchildren are mixed in color. They are people of color. I'm terrified for my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. This is a problem. And the police can sit here with their arms crossed and that arrogant look on their face and not do shit. That's fine. It's what you do, I guess. I'm learning that. Okay? And you all can sit up here and write notes and do other things and look around the room like I'm not standing here. Well, it's all right. That's what you do. Okay? When I told you 2 weeks ago I'm coming back every 2 weeks. And you know what? In 2 more weeks, my energy will probably be down again. I'll feel like the life's being sucked out of me because I don't know how to help my family in this thing. I do the best I can. And I'll come in here in 2 weeks and I'll be sucked dry. You know what? The upside to you people, you give me passion for something. And I'll wake up when it's my turn to speak, and you'll hear the same shit. I might come at it a different way, but this is wrong. This treatment is wrong. I know there's an active investigation. 5 months? What the hell are you investigating now? Yeah. I worry, though, when it gets to that redacted piece, what they're redacting. So who are we protecting here? These citizens? These families? Because I've done a lot of research, and there's a lot of redacting being done that says y'all are protecting those people that you so highly praise and accommodate with awards and medals. And that's good for you, and it's good for them. And it sucks for those of us that have to go through this every freaking day. You have people that respond to your website here, and they talk about my grandson, and they don't know shit, and they don't know anything about him. And he's the bad guy. You people are wrong, and those people are wrong. And you could help wake them up in a big way by stepping up. Investigation. You didn't agree with the Hennepin County attorney before on that guy in 13. What's wrong now? What's wrong now?
The next person I'd like to call up is Shara Blanche.
You didn't say nothing. Why do you think we act this way? How does everyone? What do you think? You know what? We went to Edina and blew them up. Just like we've done you. What do? You shut down and walked away. You know what they did? They actually had people come out and talk to us in the hallway. They actually cooperated and got the data request because they had the forms, they had the process, they did it the way you want it done. We got it done.
Immediately.
We done it exactly the way you guys want it done. Mayor, you know that.
I don't know what it's going to take to get through to you guys. And Edwina, will you actually look at the speaker? You're looking off into the distance, and it's fucking rude. You've been looking off in the distance when everyone else has been up here. Hey, I'm over here. It's so fucking rude. All of you. I know you guys. Some of you I would have considered friends. Maria, when I was going to run for school board, you're one of the people I reached out to for a reason. And now look at you. Look at this. I expected that we would have resistance from one city, but I didn't expect it to be my city. I expected it to be Edina. And there's a reason we don't go back there. We don't have to go back there because they've cooperated. Literally, what Donnie just said, they walked out with stacks of paper the very first night we were there. Maybe it was the second night. I don't even remember at this point. It's all running together. But they walked out with stacks of paper. There is information missing from your supposed personnel files, information that we need. I highly encourage you to look at the statute of what constitutes a personnel file. Don't think that I don't know these things. You all know that I have worked in public sector HR. I know what belongs in a personnel file. I also strongly encourage all of you to review the dash cam video to see why we are so angry. I haven't seen the video because I'm not a family member. But Brian's family has seen that video. They've shared stories with me. We know what happened. When I say that there are murderers patrolling the streets of Richfield, I mean that. I'm not using the word murderer lightly. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe having a black son. 2 weeks ago during a snowstorm, that Friday night snowstorm, Richfield police were sitting outside my house for some reason. Why? My friend came to pick up her son from my house and she called me and she's like, Shara, the police are sitting outside your house. This is the norm for what police do. When they murder someone, they harass the family and they harass the family's friends and supporters. This is not uncommon. I am seriously considering moving out of Richfield, moving out of the city that I grew up in because of this. But unfortunately, my son is black no matter where he goes. Walking down the halls of his middle school, right, Mary? Where I had to pull him out of a class last week because of a racist teacher. Dropped a class, one of his favorite classes, because that's just the way that microaggressions work. The fact that the agenda, the order of the agenda, and that open public comment is now at the end of the agenda is not a fact that's lost on us. I can promise you, your next meeting will not go so smoothly. That's not a threat. That's a promise. Because this was a manipulation tactic that you guys did to silence us. And it's not happening. I'm done. I've actually been nice so far. And I've tagged some of you guys in Facebook posts, and I know you don't respond. I don't actually expect you to respond. But I'm done being nice. Now you've got the calm, angry Shara, and that's not good. It's not good for anyone. I also want to point out that you guys pretended to care about Brian and about the family. You asked to go to the funeral. And now what? His mother. You all just saw what happened. And I'm not going to speak about it, but you all just saw what happened. That kind of thing is also not uncommon for family members. I'm worried about Cameron. I'm worried about Ashley. I'm worried about Mary. I'm worried about William. I'm worried about Wilmarie. I'm worried about Josh. I'm worried about all of the family. Because this kind of stuff happens after a loved one is murdered by police. Regularly. Because of the stress and the trauma, and you guys are adding to it by not being transparent. You make this worse. Do your own research. Don't rely on your city attorney. Don't rely on the police chief. They clearly don't know what they're doing. You are making this worse. 2 weeks ago, I passed out the use of force policy that the Camden County, New Jersey Police Department uses. Have you reviewed that? And? Are you going to do anything with it?
Sorry. We're looking into our use of force policy.
Okay. What is the process when a policy is revised? Is it open to the public to comment on it?
It depends on the kind of policy.
Would the use of force policy be a policy that the public could comment on?
I don't have the answer to that.
Will you get the answer and get back to me?
Is that something?
Oh, I'm getting to that one next. They don't give a shit, Keith. Oh, I'm going to talk about the hockey rink too. You all know that my son's a hockey player. I know why you guys need to do the renovations to the hockey rink. I know that it's outdated. I know that whole story because I've been following it as a hockey parent. How are you spending millions of dollars on the hockey rink that both Damon and Cameron use, but you can't spend $70,000 on body cameras? That's something that the Aiden family has really looked into, and Deanie talked about that the last time that we were here 2 weeks ago. But it's not. Waiting 3 or 4 years for body cameras to be fully implemented is completely inexcusable. I expect that body cameras are implemented by July of this year. Figure it out. Fire one officer. There's 3 you have options to fire right now. Yep, fire those 3 and you got the money for body cameras. Have you even done an RFP on the body cameras yet? Do you know the answer to that question? Okay, so why not? So you don't even know how much it costs. Am I wrong? What message are you sending, Maria?
We have it on our website.
I don't care what the website says. I'm here for a conversation with you. You haven't done an RFP, so you don't know how much it costs. What do you expect us to do at this point? Do you want us to continue to show up? Do you want us to get a whole bunch of people to show up? Because we can. We can fill this room. We can fill this building. Is that what you want? Because you have the option. You all know how to get a hold of me. And you know that anything that comes to me, I can get back to the rest of the group. Is that what you want? Because we can make that happen. Yeah, and they won't. I hope you sleep well tonight, because I know that there are people who won't. Those are the people that had to leave already, because they're traumatized by being in this room. I won't sleep well tonight, because I never do, knowing that there are murderers on my streets, that they sit outside my house, that they targeted my son when he was 9 years old for the first time, that I may run into them at the Speedway on 66th, and that they may then laugh in my face when I call them a murderer. I hope you can sleep well.
Thank you. Seeing that there are no other folks here for the open forum, I will adjourn this meeting.